Well, it's taken a good deal of time, but I finally come back to revisit the Indiana Jones films and finish the last one of the trilogy, because there are only three. The third chapter begins with Indiana Jones recovering an artifact and satisfying a lifelong pursuit. Before he can fully return to his teacher's duties, however, he receives a mysterious package from his estranged father, Dr. Henry Jones. After a meeting with Walter Donovan, an affluent collector of antiques and artifacts, Indy and his allies must work with Dr. Elsa Schneider to locate his missing father and follow his quest to locate the Holy Grail. Sorry, wrong film. And follow his quest to locate the Holy Grail. But it's not long before Indy finds himself in a race against other militant forces, each with their own goals, and the journey grows beyond a search for a historical artifact into a quest of faith and belief. This movie is a refreshing return to form after the debatable elements in Temple of Doom. All of the familiar hallmarks are present. A race against evil for a powerful artifact, the interplay of history and legend, thrilling action sequences with well-crafted practical effects and masterful stunt work, and a cast of interesting characters with excellent chemistry. The only major flaw in my eyes was the portrayal of Marcus Brody. Raiders of the Lost Ark had painted him as a sort of experienced mentor to Indy, and willing to get out in the field under the right circumstances. That characterization lasts through the opening portions of the story, but once he's separated from Indy and forced to fumble around on his own, he's essentially reduced to comic relief. All things considered, though, it's not all that bad. We've certainly seen worse supporting characters. And on that note, Dr. Elsa Schneider is a welcome step up from Willie Scott. She demonstrates a formal refinement and scholarly background well suited to the story and its tone. She's also played masterfully by Alison Doty, who demonstrates a remarkable ability to switch from scholarly damsel in distress to cunning femme fatale at the drop of a hat. The only criticism I can give is that her chemistry with Indy shifts too abruptly to feel natural. And without spoiling any details, I maintain that Marion Ravenwood remains a more reliable heroine. Now, we could spend hours debating which of the three Indiana Jones films is the best one, or moments agreeing which is the worst. But there are two elements in The Last Crusade that elevated above the previous entries. In my esteem, anyway. The first is the introduction of Sean Connery as Indy's father, Dr. Henry Jones. It's entertaining enough just to watch Connery and Ford play off each other on screen, but Jones Sr. also serves as an interesting foil to his son. It's made clear throughout the story that both men are dedicated scholars, but while Indy favors an adventurous pursuit of history, Henry is more bookish and less accustomed to thrills and danger. Nevertheless, he has a strong will and a fiery spirit that burn bright in the face of adversity, and Connery's the perfect actor to portray this on screen. And on a personal note, I think this movie was my first look at Sean Connery's acting ability many years ago. A good thing, too. Can you imagine if I had seen him in Zardoz instead? Yuck. The introduction of Dr. Jones Sr. also provides a new father-son dynamic to explore. While Short Round's presence in the Temple of Doom let us see Indy's paternal side, The Last Crusade flips the script and shows us how Indy relates to his own father. In a word, poorly. Henry's distant parenting style and strict pursuit of his own historical interests left his son with a great deal of bitterness, and that friction between the two men persists through most of the main story and stymies their awkward attempts to reconnect. Nevertheless, a few key moments show how much each truly values the other, and it's rewarding to see father and son mend their broken relationship by the end of the film. The other element that ran strong in this movie was the significance of faith and belief. Belief in supernatural forces was already a prominent part of the previous installments, but faith in a higher order takes a much more personal role here. Which is entirely reasonable, of course. Angering a higher order is what got me sealed in this vault, so I can certainly respect the script for this. Characters acting on faith often display strong dedication, defiance, self-sacrifice, or temperance. In contrast, those acting without it tend to bring about their own downfall. And the more I watch this film, the more I appreciate how well that theme is woven into the adventure. Fortunately, there's no need to search through ancient catacombs or tombs for this one. The Indiana Jones films are still famous enough that you can easily find a physical copy for a good price on the primary or second-hand markets. And I highly recommend that you do. The movie is well worth its space on your shelf. both on its own merits and as part of the trilogy. If you're already familiar with the movie, feel free to share your own points of enjoyment in the comments. And if you're not already familiar, then I advise you to give it a watch. It will be 2 hours well spent. Just be careful of which set you buy. It's become all too easy in recent years to get conned into paying extra for a joke set with a pair of phony movies added in. It's disappointing to think that there are manufacturers and retailers willing to peddle these third-rate fakes as genuine Indiana Jones movies when any viewer worth his salt knows better. Because there are only 3